Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Hi guys, I had a correction here. I was a nanny from January 2007 to September 2007, and in June of 2008, I stayed in a town called Grassina, not Gavinana. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Welcome back. Ciao. So, where did I leave off? So in the last episode, we talked about my 3 months in Florence in 2005. And I remember coming back at that time, still yearning for more. And this might be called Yearn for More Part 2. So at the end of 2005, I believe I started my process. I can't remember back then, I'll be honest. I tried to look for all my journals and scrapbooks and stuff, and I've got so many and I just couldn't find the right one. But I kind of lost track of what happened that year at the end of 2005. I remember just trying to get a job just to make ends meet, still living with my parents, and still trying to find a way to move and live in Italy. And the only way I could think of was through my Nana, through Maria, because she was born in Emilia-Romagna in 1931. Yes. And so I was trying to do it that way, through blood. I got all the paperwork. I had all her documents. I had my grandfather's documents. There's so many things to translate back and forth. All postille. Those of you that know and been through the citizenship process, you know what I'm talking about. It was really stressful because then came 2006. And that was the year Italy won the World Cup in July of 2006. I will never forget that because I so much wanted to be a Joshua Tree when that happened, because my friend Simone, there's pictures of him just beer flowing everywhere on his face, all over his body, everyone just full of just craziness, crazy because they won the World Cup that year in 2006. So yeah, that whole year I worked at a community college near my house. And I remember specifically because I worked in the advising and counseling center of this community college. So I saw students coming in either that were transferring or maybe just starting from out of high school, and they just trying to get their gen eds and stuff. So I always remember talking and connecting with the people that were interested in studying abroad. And I remember a few students that I would talk their ear off. I'm like, oh my God, if you have a chance, go somewhere in Europe, abroad, anywhere, just because it changed my life and I know it will change yours. That was probably the only way I was feeling like Italy was still inside of me, because I would keep talking about it, even though I hated that job to a passion, because I've been a receptionist at every single job you ask me. I probably have been a receptionist at every single type of office. And that type of office was horrible. So I was ready to leave. I actually worked a full year there. I couldn't believe I did that. That's strange. I never really was able to stay at a job for that long because I would just get bored and I need something else, or I moved to Italy. So my yearn to return, actually yearn for more, I guess. My yearn for more is I found, I think it was closer to the end of 2006. So I'm still in the process of trying to get citizenship through my grandma. It's not going well. and those of you that know Italian bureaucracy, going down to the consulate in Chicago, it was not the funnest time. I did become friends with the security guard there because I was going down so much, but I wasn't getting anywhere. There's just a lot of documents I was missing. My Nana changed her birth year, changed her name. There's just a lot of things that happened that I knew it wasn't going to work out. So I needed to find a different path. And so I thought, I don't know where I found it. It might have been through, oh gosh, if anybody listens to this from Expats in Italy. And Expats in Italy was a website back in the early 2000s that a bunch of Americans / European / any type of expats. And expats, for those of you that don't know, we're basically immigrants. We don't, for some reason, I don't like it now that I know the difference. And now I know that there isn't a difference, sorry. Immigrants and expats are the same. Expats, for some reason, are called people that move abroad that have money. That's the only way I can think of it as, that are able to support themselves to a point. Immigrants are people that are infiltrating our country or whatever. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, so the Expats in Italy, I don't even know if it's still around. Expatsinitaly.com, I think it was. It was a really great resource for me at the time. I became friends with a lot of the people on that website because all of us were trying to get to Italy or travel to Italy or something. Gosh, I'm just thinking of this. I cannot believe I forgot about this website. So there were a few people that I contacted with, I corresponded with through email a lot, trying to figure out a way to go back to Italy legally somehow. And what I landed on, and I believe this, I got it from this website, is to be an au pair or a nanny for a family in Italy. So that's what I did. I found and I believe again, I'm going to keep saying I believe because I can't remember exactly how this all played out because it's been so long, more than 10 years. I found an agency. I think they were out of Torino. Yeah, I think she was out of Torino, and she placed me with a family in Florence. And then my adventure started to be a nanny or a babysitter or whatever you'd like to call it. Au pair sounds very like regal and very like medieval. I was not that. I was not that at all. I didn't expect exactly the, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I didn't go there because I was in love with children. I'll be honest. Okay. Yes, I was a Pee Wee camp counselor back in the day. I was really good with little kids, 2 and 3, 5 years old, like love them. Not saying that I don't like kids, but like I didn't go there going, oh my gosh, I love children. I went there to be a nanny because I wanted to live in Italy. That's it. Like really, that was my point. I had friends still there. I met new friends when I went there. So like that was the ploy, if you will. The family that I stayed with, and those of you that know me, it was a very lovely family that I was able to stay with for 9 months, which if I were you, I wouldn't have probably stayed. If you were me, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I probably shouldn't have stayed that long because it kind of wore on me, the job, and the mother is a very, very dear friend now. But at that time, I think we were both on each other's nerves. If she ever listens to this, she might attest to this, or she might have forgotten, which would be great. But I was 28, I think. I think I was 28 when and you know, that's pretty old to be a babysitter, but you know, I was an adult. I knew what I had to do. I had a job. I had to pick up the kids and play with the kids and talk to the kids in English. And there are all these different tasks that I had to do. It was a really great lesson. I don't regret it at all. I thought I learned a lot in those 9 months, not just because I was living with a family that mostly spoke English. They're a very prominent Italian family And so they had a really good knowledge of English. All of the kids spoke English. The grandparents spoke English. They had American ancestors. So like it wasn't just that. I learned a lot about culture. I learned a lot about driving. Oh God, my driving. Oh geez. Yeah. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I also was lucky enough to go to another Italian language school, which if you ever want to go to Italy and learn Italian, this is the language school to go to. It was Giorgio Lapira, and it was the best. For 9 months, I learned a lot, and I moved up in levels. I graduated. I finished at an advanced level. I didn't get a certificate or anything, but like I was able to speak and I was able to communicate. I was able to write pretty well. And if you ever are going to Florence and you want a really good language school, don't go to the big brand name ones that you find that have like, you know, I would suggest this one. Contact me for that school if you'd like. So yeah, I learned a lot of English, a lot of Italian. I learned how to drive. Okay, listen. So those of you that are probably around my age, you probably didn't drive or learn to drive a stick shift or manual, as they would call it in Italy, when you were learning to drive at 16. I did not. I just did that in the simulator at school, and stick shift was never something that I'd ever thought I'd have to learn how to do. I practiced before I left in 2006. Not very well because, of course, it was winter. So, like, I was not very good at it. I took a couple lessons with the driving school in Florence, paid for by the mother. And she then took me on a lesson. And yeah, I wasn't very good. I was safe enough that I was able to get the kids to and from school, or from school because I would have to pick them up. But I knew one way, guys. Okay, Florence, unlike Rome is freaking chaotic. I don't think I could drive in Rome, but Florence was very aggressive, driving, chaotic. Didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I knew the way to get to the school on the other side of the river. The one way I knew how to get to the school. Again, before GPS, guys, I did not have my phone with Wi-Fi. No, I did not have a phone. I had a phone, but I had a regular, Motorola phone, not a smartphone. So I knew one way. There were a few times I did stall. Thankfully, I was stopped. It wasn't in traffic, but I was stopped and I had to restart. There was one time that I literally could not park. Oh my God. I don't even want to think back to that. It was horrible. There was a huge bus behind me. It was a one-way street. I was trying to parallel parkers that don't know how to parallel park. That's who I was. It was crazy. It was scary. I think I scared the kids that day. I felt horrible because I was so scared. I was crying. Oh my God. But again, lesson learned. Okay. Stefano, to this day, my husband is still trying to teach me how to drive stick, and it is not going very well because I haven't practiced since then. Anyway, let's go back. So when I arrived, those are all the things I learned. Okay. So when I arrived in 2006 in Rome, the family picked me up in Rome and we went to their country home outside of Florence, about an hour and a half outside of Florence. And I was awed by the beauty of this place. Mind you, I had only been to small towns when I was a student. Assisi, I went to Pisa, Lucca. I've been to some of those towns, but this was like a tiny, tiny little town. And their place was on top of this hill in Cetona. And I was in awe. The girls were adorable that I watched, Carolina, Maria. They were 4 and 3. And 4 and 2. 4 and 2. Yeah, Maria was the baby. Oh my God, they were so cute. Their cute little Italian voices. And then when they were learning to English with me, like, oh my God, they just had the cutest voices. I had a lot of fun with them. I had a lot of hard times with them, but I had a lot of fun with them. Overall, I do not regret being with that family. I learned so much. My eyes were open to a lot of things that I would have never saw if I was just, living in an apartment in Florence. But yeah, so towards the end of 2006, so that was maybe, I think, August and September is when I left in 2006. So I left in September 2006. I was very ready to leave. I couldn't find a way to stay. I was sad. I was crying. I was sad that I could not stay, but I knew I was going to be back. All my friends knew I was going to be back. My friends, my friend Pasquale, my friend Simone, like they're like, oh, you're going to be back. You're going to be back. We know you're going to be back. Like they had no worry. I remember that feeling of like, okay, they believe I'm coming back. Okay, great. That's great. So by the end of 2006, not 2006. Sorry. No, this was 2007. Good grief, guys. I'm sorry. I am not editing this at all. So I'm just talking because this is what I remember. So the end of 2007, I'm sorry. I came there. I lived there from January 2007 to September 2007. Whew. Whoa. I'm just really excited to do this and talk about this stuff. And obviously, as you can tell, it's not organized. So by the end of that, 2007, I was I was just like, what can I do? What can I do to get back to Italy? What can I do? And by this time, I had started writing travel articles for Venere.com. And Venere, I don't think it exists anymore. It was a travel website as well. Like they had kind of like a TripAdvisor. I think TripAdvisor bought them, to be honest. Anyway, I wrote for them for a while, made, bupkis, not a lot of money, but I wrote, simple articles about living in Florence, like train travel, buses, and all that stuff, because I knew all that stuff. So then I was like, oh, I could write. Oh, why don't I start writing? Yeah, okay. And then I started a blog. Those of you that maybe have followed my blog back then, I no longer write for that blog. I have a different website now, but I called it Olio di Oliva e Sogni Divino. And it's like olive oil and wine dreams, basically in Italian. It was fun. I had it for many, many years, and then I just had to delete it because I didn't want to pay for the provider anymore. But I did write a lot. I still have all the posts, so it's not like I lost them. But so I started writing. I started writing a lot. I got connected to a travel writing teacher, and I'm still in love with her to this day, Amanda Castleman. I just love you. If you ever listen to this, you helped me so much in my writing. And I found her, and she was actually, matter-of-factly, she decided she was doing a travel writing workshop in Rome in April of 2008. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so cool. This is like meant to be. So I scraped up the cash, the credit cards, and I went to Italy for a month. Okay, I booked a ticket. I stayed with some friends in Florence, and then I went to Rome for a week, and then I came back, stayed with more friends, and then I came home. That week, I was not very familiar with Rome. I had only been to Rome once when I was a student, so I was in we found our own places to stay. So I actually, to this day, oh my God, I have so much to talk about with this. So we met in a neighborhood of Rome called Monti. And whenever I tell people when they go to Rome, you have to go to Monti. It's just the cutest little streets. Oh my God, it's in Rome. It's just a little neighborhood, and it's just so cute. I saw so many really cool things, guys. I went to the Holy Stairs. I went to all these places I didn't go to when I was a student. Anyway, I can go on about that too, but I digress. I also found an apartment by this couple, and they're still my friends to this day, Monica and Adrian, and they're actually, Monica is from Bari, from Puglia, and Adrian, I forget where he's from. I think he might be from Rome. But anyway, I stayed in their apartment for a week. They were so nice, so accommodating, so nice. And it's just amazing that after all these years, like, we're still friends, we're still connected, and it's great. I really can't wait to see you again, Monica and Adrian, when I ever come back to Rome or meet you in Bari. But yeah, so that week I learned a lot about writing, travel writing, and photography, travel photography. There was a travel photographer that came with Amanda from Seattle. She's from Seattle. And his name is Marcus, and he helped us with lighting and stuff like, again, it was a week. It was really hard for us to get everything from them for a week of travel writing, but I met some really awesome people. James, if you're listening, you're in Hawaii now. James was was one of the men on, I think he was was there another man? I think he might have been the only man. I can't remember James. That was in the workshop. And a lot of the other women, Debbie, Kate, I can't remember the other girl's name. She left early. Anyway, but it was a great setup. Amanda, I thank you to this day, because you really still have that, help me get that fire of writing inside of me and out onto the paper. And she's a great teacher. If you are into travel writing and you need a teacher, I suggest you look her up, because she's amazing and she's very talented. So I did that for a month, and it was incredible, because if I think back to that, that's 2008. I was there for a month in April. I came back, went to Florida with my parents in May, and then by the time I left in April, I had lined up another nanny type job in Florence. Okay. This is how the universe works. Like, I had a friend, who told me, hey, she's a friend of mine is looking for kind of like a nanny / English teacher for her, teenage kids, contact her, whatever. So I met with this woman. She was like, great. Okay. I'll pay you this amount, blah, blah, blah. And you can stay with us in Gavinana. And that's what happened. So I moved back to Florence again in summer, in June of 2008. And I lived with this family for only a month. It only lasted a month. Why? Because the kids didn't really want to hang out with me. One was 14, one was 12. And I really was just there to eat their food and sleep. They didn't really want anything to do with me. I had my own way of getting around. I had the bus was really close to their house, so I picked up the bus and took it to Florence. And Gavinana is just a little town outside of Florence, so it wasn't that far to get to the center. I ended up having to leave. She kind of fired me, but it was fine. I was okay with it, because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I then was lucky enough to live with my friend Simone for a month, for the month of July, because his girlfriend at the time was gone. So he had a couch I could sleep on. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. It was awesome. So I am always grateful for that. From there, this is where this story kind of gets really funky, because it just kind of went bang, bang, bang. Like, so I stayed with this family for a month. I went to live with Simone for a month. And then in August of 2008, I ended up moving to Lucca. Okay. Why, you ask? So I tried to work for this school called the European School of Economics. Come to find out that it's definitely a cult. It was at the time. I don't know if it is now. It probably isn't, but I felt it was, because I was calling people through their Skype account and giving them information about they had MBAs, they had masters and all this stuff. It was basically like a call center, like a call out center, if you will. And I didn't like it, but this was like I thought this was like my only way to like stay in Italy. But again, I didn't have a permesso di soggiorno, so there was a time limit I had. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I ended up moving to Lucca and living with this woman who was American, and her family. I actually slept in her daughter's bedroom. This was like the weirdest setup, okay? Her daughter slept on the couch. It was a really small place. I'm like, this is just weird. I ended up getting fired from that job when the owner of the Luca branch realized that I wasn't legal, that I was just an American and I had no papers and stuff. So that was horrible. So then I had to move back to Florence. So my best friend, Kelly, came all the way from Florence, helped me bring my bags back on the train. And I stayed with her for, I think, 2 weeks. Slept in her bed, very tiny apartment again. But I was very, very grateful of that. And in the meantime of all of this, I was dating this Calabrian man. I'm not going to go too far into it because I don't really care to talk about him anymore. But at the time, he was the love of my life. Oh my God, he said all the right things, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up living with him after I moved out from Kelly. I lived with him until I left in September. And actually that year was the year my great uncle, my grandmother's brother, got married in Como. So I ended up bringing him as a date, and I regret that to this day, but it's fine. I've deleted all the pictures and I just have pictures of my uncle and my new Aunt Jane. So it's fine. But if you saw like how I pieced that together, like I had a place to go every time. Like when I thought all was lost, when I thought, oh my God, where the hell am I going to stay? Where the fuck am I going to go? I don't want to go home yet. How can I stay longer? Like I always had something there. The universe was still there saying, Katie, it's okay. We gotcha. Go stay there. It's okay. We gotcha. Go stay there. Okay. Now you got to go home because you ran out of your 3 months. For my, the tourist visas, 3 months, like you got to leave. So it worked out perfectly. Of course, I came home in 2008, very, very sad. Very, very sad because one, I ended up breaking up. We ended up breaking up, this guy and me. Very sad. Very, very sad. Again, it was my first love. It was really hard at the time, but I don't want to get into that. But I was still like, okay, now what do I do? Now what do I do? All right, universe, what am I going to do now? I can't go the Italian route with my Nana because she fucked it all up and changed her name and changed her birth year. And what am I going to do? So then all of a sudden my mom had said, hey, why don't you try getting citizenship through me? And I'm like, what? Oh, why didn't I even, what? Oh my God. My mom was born in London. She's the only one of my aunts and uncle that was born in London because she's the oldest, and she still has her British citizenship. She's a dual citizen. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, let's do it. So I got all the paperwork together. Guys, this is how fast it went. So I think I filed in January of 2009. Okay. I had all the paperwork. Obviously it's English. I didn't have to translate anything. I had all my mom's birth certificate. I had all the right paperwork. Nobody changed their name. Nobody changed their birth year. Thank God. And I sent it off in January. By March, I had become a British citizen. Okay. And at the time, okay, it's not so now, England was part of the EU. So it was easy for me to become a resident in Italy because it's part of the European Union. And, it was perfect. It was like perfect. The stars aligned. It just like clicked. And I was just so excited. So in May of 2009, I went downtown to the British consulate and got sworn in by the woman that was there. And, it was like, there was the anthem and it was just a whole thing. My parents came. It was a really cool thing. And I had my British passport. It's fucking awesome. Okay. Well, I didn't have it yet, but I was going to get it, but I was a British citizen. I had all the paperwork. I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing. I have all the things I need. Everything is in my pouch. I can get on a plane now and go to Italy and be legal finally. Okay. So in I believe it was June finally, I think it was maybe at the end of May, June, I don't know. I got my passport in the mail. I cried. And then I bought my ticket and I was done. And I moved to Florence in July of 2009. And I'm going to stop here because I can go on, and this is going to it'll be the longest episode ever. But I just want to point this out. Like, my yearn for more was valid because there was more. And the stars aligned, and I've got all of the things from 2007 to 2008, everything fell into place. When I was about to get worried about where the fuck I was going to live or where I was going to go, and if I was able to move or get the ticket to go abroad and live there legally, I always had the next step. The next step was always there. Not unbeknownst to me, but like I fell into that. Okay, I lost that job. Kelly to my rescue. She came to Luca. She came up, picked up my bags, and she let me stay with her. And then, it just was like meant to be. Everything was meant to be. And when I tell this story to other people, I don't think I've told this story to a lot of people, to be honest. So I hope this resonates, and I hope this helps you in your journey. If you're if you're waiting to make the step, or if you're waiting to take the leap and go abroad or go to that next job or to that new relationship, just know that there's definitely something guiding you, and you just need to tap into yourself, into your body, to know that you just got to believe. You got to believe that this is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I've always dreamed of, and it's going to happen. It is going to happen. And in July of 2009, I remember crying on the plane on the way there because I did that all. I did it all. I did not stop. I didn't waver. I didn't stop when people said, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you leaving? Like, what about this? What about that? What about, No, I didn't. I didn't listen to anybody. So if you have people in your life that are telling you that to really think about the money, and think about what you're missing, and think about your 401k, or think about, like, what about your house that you want to buy? No, guys, living your life somewhere else. And I can get just emotional thinking about it. It was the most amazing time of my life. And I think about it every day. I think about what I've done every single day, and that I did it. Nobody else was able to do it in my family. Nobody else helped me do it. I had the vision, and it came to fruition because of my passion, and because of my love of Italy, and because of my love of just being in the moment. And not caring what others were doing, having babies and getting married. Fuck no. I was interested in learning the culture, the language, people. It was all worth it. So if something is holding you back, if anything in your life is telling you, or the people's voices and you're coming into your mind and saying, "Hey, you need to listen to this because I'm right." No, shut it up and listen to yourself. Because you know what you want, and you need to follow it, because nobody else is going to do it for you guys. All right. I love you. I think you guys are awesome for listening to me, and thank you for letting me ramble on, because this is what my podcast will be. I do not have editing. I don't have editors. I'm not Brene Brown. Like, I don't have cool music. I created it myself. Thank you very much. But I appreciate you. Thank you. And just keep taking the leap. And you know the net will appear. Thanks for listening, guys. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all of my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.